Hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you're new here. My name is Cody, I'm a writer, and by the time you're seeing this video, my YouTube channel is 2 years old. It truly doesn't feel like I've been on the internet chronically for 2 years. I mean, obviously, I was chronically online before I was a YouTuber. And now here I am 2 years later from the very first video I ever posted on my channel. This journey truly has been one of the coolest of my life. And really, in the grand scheme of things, I'm only just now getting started. Yeah, we've been around for 2 years, but I mean, I hope to be around for 10 plus at least. And I have so many more stories I want to tell. I have so many more live streams I want to do, so many more videos I want to make, so many friends I want to meet. Now, as part of the celebration for being on YouTube for 2 years, I went over to my community tab and asked all of you for some questions for me to answer on today's video. I have all of those already set up on my computer so that I can reference them because I did have them on my phone, but I'm using my phone to record, so. Being on YouTube, making these videos, it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, and it really has just been made all worthwhile by all of you that have left kind comments and have said that you've been inspired to start your own writing journey or your own YouTube channel. Comments like that truly make every single ounce of stress or time spent on YouTube absolutely worth it. Shout out to all of you for being super, super amazing people. And without further ado, let's get over into our questions. Now, the first one, I mean, we're starting off strong. Is there a line from project terms and conditions that you can share with the class as a teaser? Also, congrats on 2 years, friend. Thank you so much. I think with this novel coming out this year, the best way to tease you with this is to maybe give you one of the very last lines of the book. I'm not gonna give you any context. You don't get to know who is saying it. You don't get to know who they're saying it to. So yeah, take this with a grain of salt. I hope you enjoy. No, sweetie, I say softly, you won't have to worry about the bad man in the attic ever again. My next question says, OMG, your channel and I are birthday twins. Nina, happy birthday to your channel, bestie. Question, what is something that you wish you could tell your past self who is just sitting down to write the first words of the Ghostwriters Club? Oh, that is such a great question, Nina. Thank you so much. And if you're watching this video and didn't know, the Ghostwriters Club is actually my debut novel. Look at her, she's so stunning and gorgeous and beautiful. And she actually came out in April of 2025. I would probably tell him right story, wrong time. For the Ghostwriters Club to be what it became in the end, there was definitely more life experience that I needed to have under my belt. There were more, trials and tribulations in life that I needed to kind of go through to better understand the circumstances that the characters in this book kind of endure throughout the story. I think that's what I would tell the Cody that was writing the very first words of this. I would say, right story, wrong time. And my next question actually isn't a question, but because it was so nice, I left it in the video. And it comes from Peach Herkimer, and they said, I can't believe it's already been 2 years. You've accomplished so much. I'm so proud of you. I just want to say, as a fellow ADHD writer, you give me hope that I can do it. So thank you. Remember earlier when I mentioned those comments that people leave on your channel saying like, you inspire me and prove to me that I also can do this? That's what I mean. It's comments like that that keep me going on this YouTube journey. Because if I can just help one person be like, hey, you can do this, I'm doing it, you can too, that's enough for me. Anyways, thank you so much, Peach. Shout out to you. On to the next one. My question is how you feel about working on multiple projects at once, i.e. drafting one while editing another, especially if they are in different genres. Does it mess you up tonally while writing, like hard to get into the voice of the project? I'm thinking of starting a new project while letting my current manuscript marinate. Would love to hear your thoughts. By the way, loved your most recent video. Literally inspired me to write a new manuscript, hence this question. Y'all are being too nice. Thank you so much. We all know I'm an ADHD queen. Hello. And with ADHD, I go through waves of hyperfixation, right? Where I will be hooked on one thing for like 3 months and I'll do nothing but that. And usually by then, all of a sudden, I don't want to do that thing anymore. So I move on to the next thing. My hobbies are in rotation. So like there will be a season where I get super into crochet again. There will be seasons where I get super into video games again. There will be seasons where at one point, there was a season where I would be into writing. Now I've kind of gotten writing to be a consistent hobby throughout the years. And then all of my other hobbies just kind of rotate to give me a little bit of a break from writing whenever I need one. Because my life is already kind of set up that way, I feel that it helps me to do that with my stories as well. Usually it takes me about 3-ish months to do a draft of a novel, whether it be first draft, revision. Obviously, it can take longer. And my very first ones, they did take longer. I think the first draft of Ghostwriters Club probably took me 7 or 8 months to finish. Usually it falls into that average 3-month time span. We have one in late stage revision, one in early stage revision, and then one that's gonna be in that brainstorming outline drafting, because I kind of put all of those into one sort of grouping. That is kind of how I do it. They have to be in very different parts of the process because I just like to take breaks between all the different steps. You know what I'm saying? But tonally, I don't think it really messes me up. So like right now, I'm working in the thrillers, paranormal genre. So I've been reading a lot of like thrillers and things like that to kind of keep me in that tone and that mindset. And once I start moving on to fantasy later on this year, I'm sure I'll be consuming all the fantasy projects. And I have so many fun fantasy books coming out this year on my TBR, so I'm already set. It's gonna be amazing. But yeah, that's sort of how I do it. And I hope that all of that rambling helped you out at least a little bit. And my next question says, I'm new to your channel. I've seen a video or two, I think. My question is, do you write a zero draft for your manuscripts, or have you considered doing so? Thank you so much in advance for your help, and congratulations on 2 years. May you continue for many more. Thank you so much, I hope so too. As far as a zero draft, my outlines tend to be pretty lengthy. For example, my outline for Project Purple was about 15,000 words. It's probably that long because I do tend to add scene direction, character arc notes, as well as some dialogue if some dialogue comes to me in the moment while I'm working on the outline. So in a way, it could be considered a zero draft, but here's the thing about drafts, zero drafts, first drafts, dialogue first drafts. The first time you do some sort of pass from start to finish in a story, that's a draft, you know? And then you're just kind of filling in all the pieces that are missing. Don't put too much pressure on it. Hope that was helpful. My next question says, congratulations. Thank you so much, Madeline. My question is, what are those dream writer goals that you would define complete success by? And what are the ones that, while maybe not the most prestigious, you'd be the most excited for? I mean, I feel like my dream writer goals are pretty in line with everyone else's. I mean, I would love to have a book traditionally published. I've never done that before, and I think it would be really cool. Beyond that, I think I would feel I've made it when one of my favorite authors reviews my book. If I have loved any of their work in any kind of way, having them read my book and give it a good review, that would probably be like, I'd probably fall out on the floor, if I'm being so honest. I feel like the success in being a writer is to continue writing, no matter what the results are of publishing or sharing your work with others, no matter what kind of feedback you get back, as long as you keep on writing in the face of negative feedback and criticism. I feel like not letting the fear of criticism keep you from writing is a success all on its own. With sharing any kind of work, especially if you're publishing work and you're selling it for, money, people are going to have big feelings if they do really like something or they don't really like something. Not letting the fear of that stop you from writing, that is a huge success. Me and Madeline have been DMing through Instagram, just kind of like I've been following her process with getting her book published, and arcs have been going out, and she's been kind of like, keeping me updated on the process and how it's been going. She sent me this video of someone giving her book a glowing review. And she said these words, and I was like, you are so right. Why don't we talk about this more? She said that people like on AuthorTube always prepare you for the worst reviews, like the negative reviews, the harsh reviews, but no one prepares you on how to feel when someone absolutely loves your work. And she had gotten a glowing review on her book and she didn't know how to feel about it because we're always so focused on the bad outcome that we don't even consider how we would feel if it's a good outcome, And so I just love that. And so Madeline, thank you so much for your question. And I can't wait to watch you achieve all of your author dreams, Diva, because I started your book last night and girl, I'm eating it up. My next question says, what is your thought process or steps when planning for your current series? Renee, that is a fabulous question. So with my series, the way that I kind of did it was I referenced the Brandon Sanderson lectures that he does. He talks about how you need to have your big P plot, which is the plot that's going to basically carry over the entire series. But in order for the series to remain interesting and to avoid pitfalls of having like one book where like nothing happens, we all know those series where that happens, okay? His way of counteracting that is to make sure that while you have your big P plot that is stretching over the entire series, every single book has its own little plot that is self-contained within the one book. And there may be some carryover. For example, book 2's plot maybe have been foreshadowed in book 1, and we may be seeing some of the remnants of it in book 3 and 4. But for the most part, that plot is contained to its own book in the series. But it plays a crucial role in accomplishing the overarching plot of the series. With that in mind, I basically mapped out all 4 books because I do plan on this being a 4-book series. And I said, okay, here is the big problem that we're facing. What parts of that are we going to get to see in each of these books? That is kind of how I mapped it all out. I knew what each individual book's problem was. I knew who we were going to be following. I knew sort of the tropes, the vibes that each book was going to have. That is sort of how I planned out my series. Thank you so much for asking, Renee. The next question is, what was your thought process behind pursuing trad publishing after self-publishing your debut? That is a fabulous question. From the very beginning of this journey of being an author, my end goal was always to be a sort of hybrid published author, because I do know that typically in, the traditional publishing world, once you've kind of established yourself in a genre, that they tend to like you to stay in that genre. They don't want you doing too much crossover unless they see, the buy-in from it. Like you have to sort of convince these higher ups to let you do that kind of thing. From what my understanding, at least. If I'm wrong, TradPub people, please let me know down in the comments below. I wanted to write in multiple genres. So with that, I decided that my thrillers would be sort of like my self-pub avenue, and my fantasy projects would hopefully one day be able to take the traditional route. And so that was the starting goal. But as I have, learned all of the aspects of being a self-published author, I feel that I have gained so much knowledge about what goes into creating a book, like from start to finish, from the drafting process to the revision process to the cover design to the ISBNs to the uploading it to the marketing. Like, I have had my hand on all of those aspects and have basically done the job of every trad pub team, but I did it all on my own with the power of myself and a YouTube video. Okay, those are my 2 main thought processes. Knowledge gained, and I just couldn't pick one genre to write in. So there you go. My next question says, hey Cody, I'm currently working on a hockey romance novel. Okay, very popular, love that. When I'm done with the first draft, would you like to read it if you're interested in reading about figure skating and hockey? Thank you. Alyssa, that is so sweet of you to offer. I will say I am not much of a romance reader, but CK and Dami, they're both gonna be tagged in the video below. Go to their channel, they have a Discord called the Storytellers Society, and there are so many people in there, and there are so many different like genre breakdown chats. So if you are looking for a romance beta reader, there would be plenty of romance readers in there that would be like, hi, yes, I would love to read your hockey romance. You can also DM them on Instagram if you feel so inclined, and I really hope that helped. Thank you so much for your question, Alyssa. My next question is, how was the aftermath of publishing the Ghostwriters Club? Any mixed feelings about the process at all, or was it altogether a good experience? In the moment, I think it was a really, really good experience, and even looking back, I think it was a really good experience. There were some pitfalls that were very stressful, where on the actual pub day, I had a lot of issues getting the cover image to display on Amazon's website, which I don't know why. For the longest time, it was just saying no image found. Contact with the customer service and a lot of back and forth there. Tried to re-upload it. Ingram Spark did a thing where it basically paused people being able to buy the book until everything had been updated properly. And so with that said, there was a chunk of time on the actual release day of the book where the link to purchase the books were just not clickable everywhere. But other than that, I mean, I was with my husband, we were in Chicago, we went to a concert, and I felt like it was just a really cool way to celebrate being a published author. So other than the stress of people not being able to buy my book on release day for a little while, I think it went off without a hitch. Thank you so much for your question. And my final question says, yay for 2 years. Thank you for being such a bright light in our community. Anna, that's so sweet. Do you have a favorite video game? I've been trying to get into games more this year for those times when I have the urge to just chill and dissociate rather than scrolling. Anna, I have so many games coming to the top of my head, but I'm assuming since you're using this to sort of like chill and dissociate, we're going for more like cozy vibes with the games. So I mean, obviously Animal Crossing is a 10 out of 10 slay, love her. Any game by the creators of It Takes Two, Split Fiction is a phenomenal game. Highly recommend if you have someone to play it with. And it's about like storytellers whose stories end up getting accidentally like crisscrossed and like matched and like molded together. So you have this like super sci-fi space game mixed with this very classic fantasy world, and they're like kind of like overlapping a lot. It's phenomenal. Sea of Stars is also a really good one. My husband really loved that game. Also, if you're into like platformer games where, you know, you're like jumping from like platform to platform, dodging lasers and things like that, Astrobot on PlayStation is so much fun. If you're looking for a good story game, but it is kind of spooky, I recommend Alan Wake. It's literally about an author who blacks out for like a week, and whenever he wakes up, he's written this book that he doesn't remember writing, but everything in the book is starting to happen in real life and people are getting possessed by the darkness. It's a crazy time, but if you're into that kind of thing, highly recommend that. Those are all the games I can think of off the top of my head, so I hope at least one of them suits your fancy. Thank you so much for your question. And with that, we have reached the end of our 2-year AuthorTube Q&A. I literally cannot believe that I have been here for 2 years. Everything that happened this last year, it feels like it went by in the blink of an eye. And I can only assume that the years ahead will move by just as quickly, if not quicker. So I just wanted to take a moment to say that I'm so thankful for every moment that I get to spend on here with you, whether it be in a live stream and you're in the chat or in one of the Discords all over our beautiful community. I truly think that joining AuthorTube was one of the best things that I ever did for myself. It got me out of my comfort zone in more ways than one. I met so many new people. I've had so many amazing experiences. I've literally gotten to travel cross country to meet 10 people who I found through the internet, which that sounds so crazy to me, but it literally happened. There's video proof on the internet. All of that to say, thank you all so much for rocking with me for the last 2 years. I have had a freaking blast with all of you, and I literally cannot wait for all of the fun shenanigans that we're going to be getting into together over the next however many years I'm here on Beyonce's internet. Like, share, subscribe, all the fun things, and next week I will be posting a video giving you a little bit more of an update on how my revisions are going for terms and conditions. So stay tuned for that, and I can't wait to see you guys in my next video. Bye!